name is Morrison, and this is This Week in Car Audio. Tune in. This Week in Car Audio. Tune in. What we talking about? Bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. You ain't got them, zip your lip. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in. This Week in Car Audio. Yeah. Tune in. This Week in Car Audio.
Welcome to This Week in Car Audio with your host, Doug Stockton, the judge, and Team DC Lucky. How's it going, Lucky?
What's going on?
Our guest this week is Kip Litsey. He is a representative of Kicker Car Audio. Can you tell us your role and kind of who you are, what you do, sir?
Sure. My name is Kip, and you got it right the second time. And I'm going to tell you what, as long as you don't call me late to dinner, you can call my last name anything you want. But it's Kip Litsey, almost like you're saying let's see, but it's lit, so Litsey. And I am the Associate Marketing Director of Business to Business here at Stillwater Designs and Audio, or as everyone knows us, is Kicker.
That's right. Just so you know, the people we got watching today, we actually have people all the way from New Zealand, from Northern Europe, Bridgetown, Barbados. They're already chiming in on the chat. Tristan Paris and Tiffany Paris. They are in Bridgetown, Barbados. They're a local shop owner there, and they've kind of picked up some new brands and whatnot through the show. And actually, really big sponsors of ours, and they really love what we do here. They're actually going to bring DB Drag to Barbados once we get past all this COVID stuff. So
good thing, good deal.
Yes. All right. So. Talking before we got on here, I just wanted to go real quick. You've been in the car audio for a long time, and you kind of gave us a rundown of what you did prior to coming on to Kicker. So can you run that again? Talking before we got on here, I just wanted. Lucky,
well, you know,
I did.
Yeah, I would see. I was starting to hear you again in my ear. I'm like, whoa, that's freaky. You know, I don't know if it's good or bad, but I'm probably one of the older guys, you know, that's in the industry. I've been in car audio a long time. I started, to give you an idea, I mean, I've been attracted to anything that runs on a power switch, AC, DC, or if it's a computer for a very long time. And so I started off as a tinker, a hardware, software kind of guy in my young ages, and then it got up, you know, to be the age of car audio. I mean, I remember being the 15-year-old who's saving his money and buying product to put that first system in your car. I mean, we did that even back in the early 80s, guys. It actually happened. And, you know, I got into car audio, and it was fun. When I got into car audio, it was just I wanted a car audio system. And my first car audio system, to put it in quotes, you know, I went shopping. It was for a cassette deck. So that should tell you how far that back. I was looking for a new cassette deck for my automobile. And it just happened to be, you know, I'd learned a lot about working in cars and how to install stereos because I did everything the wrong way for about 3 years. Being a guy who's attracted to wiring and all that, you know, in my junior year, senior year, and even sophomore year in high school, I'd have all these guys because I usually hung around, just my personality type, I got around along with the guys who were 2 to 3 years older than me. I just didn't get along with people my age. Yeah. And so I've got all these guys who are already driving cars. They're 2, 3 years beyond my age, and they're like, man, I want this 4-track player put in, or this 8-track player put in, or this power booster. Do you know how to put in this underdash tape FM switch? Do you even know what that is? And I'm like, yeah, I understand all that stuff. And so I did a lot of installs in my sophomore, junior, and senior year at high school, and I learned how to put stuff in, and along the way I broke a lot of stuff. But as you know, teens as we are, you know, guys that show up and they go, is it in? Does it work? And I was like, yeah, I got the whole thing in. It works great. It sounds fantastic. Great. How much do I, man, it's $65. But hold on a second. Okay, well, how much? $65. Okay. Counting off my, it's like, hold on. I was taking apart the kick panel and I broke a knob back there. So I got it put back together. Oh man, that's okay. Does it make sound? Yeah, it sounds great. and you know, and also I stripped a screw in your, no man, that's okay. That's okay. Does it work? Yeah, it works great. Man, I'll see you later. Bye. And so actually in those early years, I learned a lot about how cars, at least at that time, and that information helps you even in today's cars, but I learned how cars went together and how they came apart because I broke a lot of stuff with a lot of people who didn't care to have it repaired or replaced. So it was cheap learning. And you know, after I was shopping for my own gear, how I got into the industry, I was going to college. and I was in a store shopping for a cassette deck. And I'll make this short, but this is a really cool story. And the salesman, he's over there, and there's a customer, and the salesman, he's trying to answer the customer's questions, and the customer, like, well, what size speakers fit this car, and how much power do I need in a radio? And this salesman, he didn't know his elbow from the hole in the ground. And so the salesman walks off to try to find someone apparently who knows something. And me being me, I just walked up to the guy and said, hey, man, I said, I've done about half a dozen of those cars. And if I can remember back, it was a Dodge Omni, Daytona Omni, the classic car. I said, man, that's a pair of 6x9s in the back. I said, you can throw 6.5 up in the door. He said, but there's no hole. I said, I know. I said, the hole's in the steel. I said, all you got to do is cut the carpet and cut the plastic. I said, just pop the door. You'll see where it's at. I said, you'll need to run wires in through the boots. So I explained everything he needed, and he said, well, what radio would you get? And I said, what do you listen to and how loud? He told me. I said, man, just get that Kenwood KRC 2001 high-powered head unit. I said, that's all you're going to need. Wow. He said, really? I said, yeah. I said, you just get that and you'll be golden. Salesman walks back up, and the guy looks, the customer looks at the salesman, goes, I'll take that, that, and that. And he writes him up. So I'm just standing there. They're gone, so now I can play, and as I like to call it, knob mess with the radios and figure out what I want. And a guy behind the counter, I didn't know who he was. He was the owner of the store. And he said, hey, I said, are you even know a little bit about car audio? He says, are you looking for a job? I said, no. He said, well, you seem to know a little bit. I said, man, I've done this stuff on the side. I'm just shopping for a deck for my own car. I said, I'm really not looking for another job. And he's like, well, you really seem like you know your stuff. He says, we're looking for someone, he said, that would just, once the customers buy the gear, we would just have some place to send them to so that they could get the install done. He says, if you're interested, he said, let me know. I said, I'm not interested. So I thought about it for about a week, and I went back and said, you still looking? And he's like, yeah. So I said, I'll do it. So I started off literally, people would buy their car audio gear at this store, and then I'd get a phone call from the person who bought it, and they'd tell me what they got and what car they needed, so I knew what dash kit they needed, if that and anything. And I'd just go out to their house and install it in their garage or do it on their driveway. So for several years, I was just a mobile installer working out of people's front yards, driveways, and garages. If it was wintertime, well, they had a garage, I could be inside. I'd do the install inside in the garage. So that's where I kind of cut my teeth on car audio.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. No, so my first stereo I had was the Kraco with the EQ with the booster.
3-band.
Yeah, and then he had Pioneer 6902s.
Yep, I know those.
Yep, in the back of my 77 Trans Am. And then 215, I had two M&M Godfather 15s in the facing up, and two M&M Godfather 12s facing forward. Moved into some they were the Punch Series Kicker 10s. At one point. I bought me a pair of Punch Kicker 10s. So those are pretty cool. Those are a long time ago. That's in the 80s-ish.
It's definitely the 80s. With you bringing up something like M&M, it reminds me of some of the like I remember G&S Redline amplifiers. I don't even know if people tuned in know that.
No, so G&S Redline's the guy who made them and all that stuff. He actually only lives probably 15 minutes from Lucky, and Lucky lives 20 minutes from me. He lives up in the Stockton area, so he's still around. He was helping work out some stuff with the Luma Pro and some other companies, but that guy's still around.
That's pretty cool.
No, and you know what? One year I caught him at CES, and holy crap, dude! I mean, it was talking to somebody with that kind of history. And I mean, like when I sat down with Robert Zeff one time and talked to him. Well, I love being the stupidest guy in the room. Man, you can learn so much when you hang out with those guys.
When you hang out with people like that, you absolutely can. I mean, those are definitely pioneers of the industry. But when you bring it up M&M, it just reminds me, I sold and installed G&S Redline amplifiers back in the day.
Oh, so I never even heard of M&M Godfathers.
They were out of San Francisco, as a matter of fact. It was a subwoofer company out of actually East Bay, but they said San Francisco.
And so, what time frame was that? The early 80s?
Yeah, I think they closed their doors like 92, 93-ish. It was
I was going to say 93.
Yeah, It was early mid-90s when they closed their doors. Their big deal was 100% lifetime warranty. I mean, and that was it, right? Oh. Except for they didn't cover water damage, screw damage, animal infestation, playing it too loud.
Well, what they forgot to tell you, the lifetime warranty was the lifetime of the speaker. When the speaker broke, that was its lifetime. You were done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the taillight warranty. As soon as your taillights disappear, it's over.
Yeah, that's right. As soon as we see taillights on, the warranty's over. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So hey, it's great. Like I said, Lucky and I have been doing the Basehead Diaries. That's Lucky's thing. But I co-host with them because, like we said before, Lucky's not the technical guy, and this way I can kind of talk technical with guys. We've had Scott Owens. I'm sure you know Scott Owens.
Sure,
we've
absolutely.
had him on here. We had Gary Killian. We've had a bunch of the top end guys that have been world champions multi times and multi years. We've had them. We've talked to them, and Don Hebig, you probably know him. Alan Dante, so those guys. Lucky's learning, and
I'm trying.
We all.
No, you know what? He just started working on his first. So he's been competing almost 3 years now, right, Lucky?
Yeah, actually 3 years, July 14th. Yeah.
Okay, so 3 years for Lucky, and he actually started working on his own install for the first time, probably 3 months ago?
Yeah, I think it was 3 months ago. Like I had my hands in a little bit of the stuff, you know what I mean? But for the most part, yeah. So 3 months ago, I think is what it was when I started building the new piggy bank that's in the picture behind me. That's when I started getting my hands in there. So.
Yep.
So what was your first aha or awakening moment as you're starting to do your own installs? I mean, what was kind of like a big learning moment for you, or something you learned that was just like, oh, wow?
Starting from the ground up, like getting your foundation, because I did everything backwards before, like okay, get your amp and your subs in your box, versus like, hey, get your deadener done and your batteries and your alts, and start with your foundation and move up from there. That way when you're done, everything's done, versus putting it backwards and then having to rip everything back out again. So that was one of the biggest for me.
When you get into what you're doing, once you get past a couple thousand watts, I mean, for a consumer, 2,000 watts is oodles and gobs and plenty to do what you need for a car audio system that's going to reproduce music. When you're trying to float babies, in the window,
that's a new one for you. Try that one.
You can't create 10,000 watts of power unless you can provide 10,000 watts of power.
That's right.
And a lot of people just miss that. They'll buy huge amplifiers. They may buy big subwoofers. They might even invest in some extra batteries in the back. But then when it comes down to, well, how many runs of walnut did you run from the front to the back? And did you upgrade all the grounds? And did you upgrade your alternators? Because all this power, batteries are just a reserve. The thing that actually makes the power is the alternator. And sometimes you just get that glazed look that comes across their face, and they go,
that one there.
No, but what's that going to cost me? Well, probably as much or more than what you've invested already.
Yep.
Well, that's a lot of money. Well, you bought a big amp. It takes a lot of power to run it.
Yeah. I mean, for most of us in the competition, our systems cost triple and even 4 times the amount of our vehicle,
Yep.
It's
Absolutely.
crazy,
Hey, so the big reason I came on here is I asked you to come on is I was over there at Slamology. You guys debuted your new woofer. That thing right there.
This one right here?
Yes, sir. Can you tell us what that is? And we'll go from there. So tell us all about this thing, please.
I'll tell you what I can that ensures I don't get a pink slip in my paycheck come Friday.
Okay.
Everyone knows the original Solo X from Kicker. If you were to actually ask our social media guy, Solo X is probably one of the most requested things that people would like to see come back in the Kicker lineup. And so we started, it feels, I like to refer to last year as the blip. It's the year that happened, but I don't know what happened. So the year that was the blip has totally messed up my way to perceive time. So I'm going to say 3.5. Now it's actually 4.5 years. Wow. When we actually started going out into the lanes, we started putting some money into sponsoring a lot of the finals events and things like that. And basically, we were just going out to throw some money back into the community, and then we just wanted to sit around and listen. We wanted to see what you guys were using as a community, what woofers we're doing, what amplifiers we're doing, because it was kind of our way to put our toe in the water and see, is this a product category that we should bring back out again? A lot of people who are diehard big competitors, unless you make a monster subwoofer, they just think that your line of speakers and products is chintzy. It doesn't mean anything. It's junk. Well, I'm here to tell you, if that's the case, we make a pretty good living on selling junk. There's a lot of people that buy Kicker products because we make, and I'm not going to pull any punches on this, I think we make some of of the most musical and accurate sounding products that bang for the buck you can't beat. And that's what really has kind of kept us going, especially since that big crash, the economy, the thing that ran away and hid, competitions kind of went away for a while, the economy took a crash. And that's about the same time the Solo X project died. And it was a strict financial move. I mean, as a company, you got to make sure that the company lives. I mean, people kind of look at companies in an odd light, but a company is nothing more than all the people who work there. And we all have families and we all have houses and we all need food. And so we got to find a way to keep the company alive because the individuals are what really make the company up. So the product went end of life. It was shelved. And then, so we started looking at this. We saw a resurgence in in people who are using this type of products. And so all that information, we had some people out there watching may be part of the group or they have heard of the group, but we actually had about 4 private NDA meetings out there. So there are people out there that know a lot more than I can say on camera right now because they're actually under a non-disclosure agreement. And we basically let them know what we're looking at, what we're looking to do. And so Solo X as a family of products is coming back. And read my words carefully. So Solo X as a family of products is coming back. And L7X, which is this driver to my left, which is probably your right on the camera, this is the first line of products coming into the Solo X family, and this is the L7X. And so out of the gate, we're going to offer these in a 10, a 12, and a 15. It is square format technology. It's square because we do have a patent on it. A square subwoofer does move more cone area. So if you have a round driver and a square driver side by side, 10 for 10, 12 for 12, and they both have the same amount of travel capability, but this one is square, it's going to move 20 to 23% more air. And as all of you out there know, if you're moving more air, you're making more output. Right. So square is not just a marketing gimmick. Square is there for a reason. Square does give you mutually coupling better drivers. So when you're on multiple subwoofers, because they are closer together for a longer distance, because that square side or that flat side, you get better mutual coupling. So the square format driver is a fantastic driver, and it does have a lot of benefits to round. You do have to engineer around a lot of things like the corners. How do you get them to work? Because a square subwoofer, square speakers have been around for a long time. We weren't the first company to create a square speaker, but we were the first company to figure out how to actually make a square subwoofer, because to be a subwoofer, it's got to move more than 3 or 4 millimeters. It's got to move 12 millimeters, 15 millimeters, 20 millimeters. You got to get some throw out of it to be a true subwoofer. And so those 3 drivers are going to be the first one in the L7X family that will be joining the Solo X family. We really wanted to have these out this year. We announced this product at SEMA last year. Yeah, believe it or not, 2020. God, time flies. And we expect to be a lot further down the highway than we are right now. And anyone out there who's buying anything in the retail stream knows it's hard for any company out there, not just consumer electronics, but everything out there is in short supply right now. And so it's hard enough to keep making the products that you're in your current portfolio, much less bringing new products to market. So it's really taken us a lot longer than we wanted. What we've been actively telling people now is we're probably looking at this product hopefully Q1 of 2022. Although we are constantly pushing and pushing. I mean, I get into listening tests on this stuff just about every week. If we can get it out sooner, we will. But we're actively telling people, don't get your hopes up. It's going to be a Q1 2022 product at this point. They're going to be available in dual 1 and dual 2 ohm drivers. It's a heavy 3 centimeter pressed pulp paper cone pressed on both sides. So it's a double pulp press, not a single press. Single press pulp paper is a cheaper way to go. A lot of speakers out there just do a single press pulp. We do double press pulp. It gives you a more consistent weighted diaphragm across the board. This driver is not just designed to move a ton of air. It's also going to sound good doing it. I mean, Steve Irby just won't let a product leave the barn unless it sounds musical as well. And you're looking at, and when I talk numbers, I'm just going to use 12 because 12 is kind of the average number we use here in the company. We started at 12 and then go from there. But you're going to be looking at an L7X12 that's going to have like 3 1/4 inches peak to peak travel. So it's going to be a serious beast. 3 1/4 inches of travel in a square format. It's going to give any other 12 out there a serious run for its money.
What's the MSRP going to be on those, by the way?
That's a good question. A lot of people have been asking that. You know, the original Solo X came in a 10, 12, and an 18.
Correct.
And so there wasn't that 15 in the line. It was 10, 12, and then jumped right up to an 18. We're coming out now at this line. We're actually doing 10, 12, and 15, and we're not doing an 18. Maybe we will, but right now it's just a 10, a 12, and a 15. So looking at the 10 and the 12 as far as a reference price, if you go back to when, right before the drivers went end of life, we're looking at a 10-inch driver, I think, if I remember the MSRP on it, I think it was $999, and a 10-inch driver was $1099. That was the MSRP. Our goal And so far, we're staying as close as we can on the track, but as you know, prices and everything are in flux right now. But our goal, our target is for the new L7X to hit about half of the old Solo X retail price, size for size. So if we can achieve that goal, you're looking at an L7X10. We're hoping to see that driver fall somewhere between $449 and $599 as far as a retail range. Then on a 12, you'd be looking at that $549 to $699 retail range. And then the 15, I'm trying to remember what we said on the 15. I think the 15 is trying to be in that $649 to $799 retail, and that's retail prices. That's
what we're, we're not all car shops, so and I do believe,
I can't give you jobbers, sorry.
Yeah. So have you seen or heard any comparisons to the original Solo X versus these ones?
I have.
Yes. Right on par, but much better power handling. Is that basically what we're looking at now?
These are going to blow the old Solo X out of the water.
Okay. So for people that don't know, back in 2000, 99 or 2000, I used to be a competitor. One of my competitor teammates, his name was Scott Sanborn. Scott ran the Solo X12s, actually started with the L712s before the Solo X's came out, and he was running 212s. He was the second loudest in the world in his class. He did a 153 on less than 1,000 watts in a extended cab truck with 212s. So that's what he did back in the day. And like I said, and then the Solo X came out, and basically that just allowed us to add so much more power to these woofers. So if you got a power handling, say 1,500 watts or 3,000 watts on this woofer, do you have an amp that's comparable, or are you going to be bridging amps to run it, or is that part of the Solo X line to come?
I said Solo X family in the beginning, for those that are paying attention. The L7X is the first products that are going to come into that family. In our amplifier line, we normally, because of development and everything else, normally we would have KX, and our largest amplifier in the KX line was a KXA 2400. And that amplifier is rated at 2,400 watts. There's some amp dynos out there. Williston Audio Labs, old school stereo, Big D. He did some dyno testing on it and found out that amplifier actually does in excess of 3,500 watts on a dyno. So it's a big amplifier. Unfortunately, KX went end of life, and it was scheduled to go end of life at the beginning of this year, and we were supposed to have replaced it with a new series of amplifiers. Well, unfortunately, like I said in the beginning, everything in development has been slowed down. We are working our tails off to get around what we can, but we have literally, to kind of give you an idea, we've got designs that are complete, because a lot of people don't know, we research, engineer, tool, prototype everything here in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and then we work with manufacturers worldwide, not just in China, but China, Malaysia, Taiwan, Thailand, Japan. I mean, we are a global company. We distribute to global other countries in the world. So we do manufacturing source globally, including here in the United States of America. Like the Santerpene that goes in our drivers, we source that here in the United States of America because it's the best you can buy. But when you look at that, and we were trying to time, we always change products over. So we had a line of amplifiers that are yet to be announced that are going to replace KX, and there'll be some big amplifiers in that lineup. Okay. But unfortunately, I can't say any more thing more other than KX is gone, and yes, there's something coming, but the entire world's reaction to the pandemic that we've been going through, whether it's logistics or manufacturing or sourcing parts, I mean, our engineers, it actually happened last week, we're like, say, take this product, and they had an engineered, final, done, signed, and approved on. We go to straight manufacturing it. They come back and go, that part's discontinued and that part's got a 2-year lead time. So what are you going to do?
Wow.
Oh,
so
awesome.
What our engineers have to do is they have to go back to the drawing board completely and source new ICs, new chips, new drivers, whatever you want to call it, find parts that will actually work in our design. Then sometimes that requires modifying the circuit boards, whatever it is. Then they have to go all the way through, validate it, and then go back and say, do this. We've actually had that on some of our newer products happen 2 times in a row where the parts inside have either gone end of life, and they don't tell you that until they're gone, or the parts are so far out on lead time that you can't use them.
So I'm in construction that's my 50-hour a week job is construction, right? And so I manage a company, and holy crap, like I actually have doors. They're manufactured right here in the United States, but because of the supply chain interruption, not even materials, it's the supply chain interruption. I have doors that were scheduled to be here in March, and now we're talking about getting them in September.
If you're lucky.
Right. And so I literally have a hospital with no doors on it getting ready to open. So you know,
yeah, we
it's
do.
funny.
I do tattoos, and
Yeah.
even our business, we're shorted on needles, inks, a bunch of stuff. So it's affecting everybody. My buddy's air conditioning company, they're getting shorted on everything. So then the companies are raising the prices sky high, and they got to charge their customers sky high because they make up for it. So yeah, it's everywhere.
So that was
crazy.
That was the next thing I was going to get to. So one of the greatest things ever about the Solo X, they were one of the first innovators in the drop-ins.
That's exactly what I've got in my hand here. Now, understand,
awesome.
Everything I'm showing you here, this is all prototype stuff. So you're going to see funky markings on them and dust. I mean, this driver here has been to Slamology and back. I'm guessing surprised that even the dust cap's still on there. But the cool part about this is the original Solo X was field replaceable. So once you had the speaker in your hands, it wasn't a matter of if you're going to. I don't care how tough you build these drivers. It doesn't matter what you do. What people don't realize is that heat is the #1 enemy to all speakers and subwoofers.
All electronics.
All electronics.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
And so no matter if it's built by man, there's going to be another man who can show you he can break it. So it's not a matter of if a Solo X was going to break. It's a matter of you find the right guy or the right conditions. They're going to break them. So the cool part about this is you're not having to send back a 60 to 100 pound motor structure to the manufacturer, off to someone for recon and get them to rebuild it and come back. Is literally you can do it in the field yourself, and that's what the original Solo X did. So this is all the soft parts, the spider, mounting, coil, and everything.
And the cool thing about it is you don't even have to dismount the sub. The sub stays right in the place.
And how long have they been able to do that?
The original Solo X did that ever since its thing out of the gate. It was field replaceable.
2003, 2002.
I never knew that.
2002, I think, if I got my facts straight.
Yeah, so since 2002, that was the greatest thing. You don't have to. I mean, because we're looking at motors right now that are in the 60+ pound range, and even back then, the Solo X motor was 40 or 38 or something like that, and and then trying to get that out when you're sitting leaning over a car, and that, like I said, when one of those will blow, I mean, you could literally minutes, and you'd be switched out, ready to go again.
And this is the same concept. It's a newer version of it. This is actually even better version, more accuracy, more tolerance is built into this. It's more repeatable as far as getting the voice coil centered in the gap every time. Okay. And so this is version 2 of that, and these are going to be available spare replacements. So as a customer, you buy an L7X, you blow up your voice coil, which if you're into high SPL situations, which is what these drivers, you're going to blow up a driver. I don't care what brand it is.
That's right.
You're going to blow up a subwoofer. They all blow up, folks. I hate to tell you, there's none of them that can't be destroyed. If you don't, maybe we need to have a show one night where we just blow them all up and you see how they all just break. But the fact of the matter is, they all break.
They do.
So being able to replace it after it does, so you don't have to do that. And the thing about this is, there's a lot of guys, and I've seen you out there in the parking lots over the last 4.5 years, who've gotten really good at reconing in the parking lot using air-powered grinders, battery-powered grinders, glues, and all those things. But the thing is, all those adhesives have to set up before you can use that driver again. Once you drop this in and tighten up all the screws, it's good to go. I mean, it's ready to run immediately. There is no delay.
So that thing fries, right? Okay, so you just unscrew the speaker. So that just comes undone right there. And then the screws that I'm seeing underneath that, you unbolt those and then swap out the other one that's done.
Exactly. If you can kind of see from this half cutaway here, you'll see that there are, hopefully on the camera you can see it, but there's actually these bolts. And those bolts are what hold this top aluminum clamp and holds the surround to the frame. And the cool part about this, I think I heard, for some reason, it's kind of strange, I thought I heard one of you guys in a little bit earlier say something like helicoil. And that's what's cool about these is this is a threaded bolt. And we're going into an aluminum basket, but what's cool is we actually have threaded inserts, or almost like a helicoil, installed in these. So when you thread and unthread, you're not going against raw aluminum. You're actually going into a true threaded insert. So these are designed to take in, take out many, many times without damaging them. Yeah. And so you take the ring off the top, you spin the speaker upside down, and you can see hopefully these brass inserts on the bottom here. This is actually secured to the bottom. So you take these screws out, and then this entire piece comes right out of the speaker.
And that's
right out of the motor, out of the frame.
And that's what I was wondering is, so in other words, you got the speaker, the screws are going to hold down your sub, and then the other ones go around. That's actually holding down the insert, right?
That's correct.
So correct. Yeah. So that's what I was wondering. So yeah, so you just That makes sense. Perfect.
And
so there's hardware that holds this together, and then the holes that you saw here that have nothing in them, that's how that's bolted to the enclosure or your baffle.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I was wondering as far as the screwing in part. How do you get, okay, that makes
so
perfect sense.
so and remember, Lucky, when we were talking about some of those loading issues, where this woofer's above your port or whatever, and so this is unloading and you blow that sub. That's actually the reason we started using those Solo X's, because the one closest to the passenger door on the bottom when you do a wall is the one that always blows. And like he said, the great thing about it is when you got to so the whole idea is, in the perfect world, all your subs are moving together and they're moving the air together. So when you have these gaps, it creates rings that bounce against each other. So sound rings. Imagine like two different pushes in water, and then the rings collide, right? So when you have the square, they tend to work together a little better. And that
makes sense.
And that's what we did.
Yeah, I understand.
A good example of that, which is pretty cool, is if you can think about if you've ever spent any time in a rowboat or a canoe or even a Johnson boat with an oar, if you can imagine, most oars, they're rectangular shaped. And it's so that when you put that oar into the water, you're biting a big surface area of water so that when you pull against it, you can propel the boat well. The skinnier and shorter your paddle, it's easier to take through the water, but you don't get any energy transfer to the water, so your boat doesn't move as fast. So now as you make the paddle wider and taller, you're going to bite more water with every stroke, which is going to mean you're going to use more energy. If you can think of that same concept, think of two round subwoofers side by side as a paddle or an oar, and then think of two square subwoofers side by side as a paddle or an oar. Which one has more consistently surface area to bite the water and move through there?
Yeah, square, obviously.
Water you can see, air you can't. So sometimes we make those analogies so people can understand them. So when we say a square subwoofer literally has better mutual coupling, this is why we say that, because with a square driver, you have a very long area there where the two drivers have an ability to basically act as one to mutually couple to that air. And with a round driver, they're the closest at one point, and then they get further and further apart from each other as the round circles go away from each other. There are a lot of benefits to square. It's not just marketing jargon or marketing lingo. There's actually a technical side to it.
Right.
So I was going to ask you, Kip, so shows, do you guys attend any shows, World Finals, whatever, Slamology, obviously you guys attend that. Any other stereo shows that you guys attend?
The big ones for us that we've been attending as far as car shows have been the final shows, and we've been supporting those for about the last 4.5 years. Right. So your Midwest SPL, your USAC, your DB Drags, Unified Finals, those are really being the key four that we've decided to support those with products and financially, whatever, supporting of those companies. When we've got this product and it's actually going to come to market, we'll probably find a way to broaden that a little more, because I'm sure we're going to have a lot of competitors who want to use this product, and when they do, we'll probably find some more key shows that we'll want to go to and support. The thing that I keep telling people is, this product here, and we kind of joke about it internally, but we couldn't support the company if this is the only type of product we make. If all we made was an L7X, we'd have to fire 2/3 of the company and lease out some of the space. We'd never be able to support the company we're in. But we also see that this is a product category where our engineers get to go out there and kind of go no holds barred. And I can already tell you, just like in the original Solo X days, where technology and things we learned from developing the Solo X kind of trickled down into other speakers, we're already experiencing that with this driver today. So a lot of things the engineers have learned, and coming out with V2, which is a much more improved, longer throw, higher power handling, bigger coil, lower frequency response, the whole 9 yards, things we've learned in the development of L7X, you're already going to see that trickle down technology into, the CVRs or the comps or, comp Qs or drivers like that. You're going to see a trickle down effect to that. You might even see other lines of speakers come out because of it.
Yeah, you never know. So Dave Bradshaw's in here asking Powerhouse amps. Or Power Horse is what he said.
Warhorse.
Is that what it was? Warhorse? I'm not familiar with that amp. Like I said, the last time I used a kicker amp, it was the ZR series, which I will tell you, they were great amps, and they would put out gobs of power when you accidentally wired them to quarter ohm.
What we do, the vast majority of our products are installed by installers in a shop and or consumers out in the field who are DIY guys. And the one thing that we spend a lot of time and focus on all our amplifiers is protection circuits. Our amplifiers have to live in the field, and guys out there do lots of silly things like no matter what impedance you tell someone an amplifier is stable to, somehow they have this magic idea in their head that you can go half of that. No, when we tell you from at Kicker it's a 1 ohm amplifier, it's a 1 ohm amplifier. If we tell you it's a 2 ohm amplifier, it's a 2 ohm amplifier. Yep. There's no benefit for us to do that. So we actually have protection circuits that kick in. The thing about amplifiers is if you go down to lower impedances, there's some good things that can happen and there's some really bad things that can happen. And one of the bad things that can happen is you lose what's called damping factor. And damping factor is the ability of an amplifier to actually control the load that it's driving. A good analogy for you would be you can have a ton of horsepower in a car, but if you don't have a lot of torque to control it, you're not going to do much with it. Torque is kind of the damping factor or the ability of the amplifier to control the load. It's the same thing in a car or an automobile. You can have a lot of horsepower, but if you don't have torque, ask guys who drive Teslas what torque means.
Yeah.
It's there, it's instant, it's on demand, and it's all the time. So, you know, that's kind of the analogy for that. So the war horse, which I'm sure he's referencing, that was literally a cocktail napkin idea that Jerry McCord, he's an engineer that used to work here, he's no longer here at the company, and Dan Jobin, who unfortunately he's passed away, but Dan and Jerry were actually sitting around at the bar, and they were having a discussion about what would it take to build the world's most efficient amplifier. And so Dan and Jerry are sitting there around drinks and a cocktail napkin, and they're talking about ideas and they're sketching stuff. And to put a long story short, the Warhorse was a specific amplifier. It was designed to be the world's most efficient amplifier. It created 10,000 watts of power, and it did it in excess of 96% efficiency from input to output. There's no amplifier on the market today that can even approach the efficiency levels of the original Warhorse that was done 15, 18 years ago.
I would love to see the spec papers on that, so I've designed amplifiers. Like I said, you know, I told you I've talked to Robert Zeff and whatnot.
Sure.
And, that was part of my when I started Sonic FX, I was manufacturing subwoofers and then got into amplifiers. And the time frame I was, you know, the biggest amplifier out was a 2,000 watter, right? And I was helping to develop 3,000 watters, and that was kind of where I got out of the game. But I will tell you, if you get an amp over 86% efficient, I don't care what technology you're using, that is something special.
Do you want to know how we did it on the Warhorse?
So how'd you do it on the Warhorse?
All right, if you've been into amplifier design, you'll get this as soon as I say it.
Okay.
Everything in every design is about minimizing loss because everything adds loss. Everything. So in an amplifier, if you break it down to its two basic sections for a car amplifier, you've got the power supply, which takes the 12 volt and creates the higher rail voltages you need for the big power. And you've got the audio output section. Imagine if you could take the audio output section completely out of an amplifier design and just have a power supply that drives speakers. What would happen to your efficiency?
Yeah, so you're.
That's what the Warhorse is.
Once again, so when you're looking at amplifiers, right? You got power in, it generates the power, and then that's what people see as heat. So that is loss. So that means if you're 90-something% efficient, that amp would be cool to the touch. It would be lukewarm-ish. Might be a little warmer than lukewarm, but it would be about lukewarm running at full power.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. So the Warhorse was a revolutionary amplifier when it came to efficiency and design because it was literally, you're right either way. From an engineer's perspective, you could call it a modulating power supply that directly derives speakers, or you could call it a modulated output section that has no power supply because it just modulates already a high rail voltage that's created in itself. Either way, the Warhorse was basically half of what all amplifiers out there are. So if you take half of what all the amplifiers are away, look at how much places for loss you've just removed from the amplifier design.
I mean, how many 100 ohm capacitors and diodes and all that do you have in it? I mean, 86 is a real common number, right? And you have 20, 30, 40 of them in an amplifier. And every ohm is resistant. So that's 80 units of resistance in that one little tiny capacitor, or, you know, that connection. It just doesn't matter. Then you got your solder joints. All those create resistance. So this actually kind of reminds me of John Nolte. I don't know if you know John Nolte or not.
I do know John. Yes, sir.
So John's doing that new helicopter subwoofer thing, right? So that
the rotary sub.
Yeah. So that sounds almost along that lines where he's trying to get rid of other parts. Now he's adding a lot of moving parts, and moving parts on an engineering platform is the devil, right? The more parts, that's more failures you have.
Right.
So
Yeah, you ask any engineer and what they wanted to, if in a perfect world, I would sell you a piece of copper wire like this,
Yep.
and you would hook your speaker to one end and your signal to the other, and it would automatically give you 100 watts or 500 watts or
Yep.
10,000 watts, and all it would be a piece of wire. But
Yeah.
there is no such thing as a piece of wire with gain. You have to put all the electronics in its path.
Right.
So Warhorse was revolutionary.
That's interesting.
It had some issues. It wasn't a perfect amplifier, but it was a perfectly efficient amplifier. And for guys who just wanted to burp 10,000 watts for SPL competitions or things like that, it was a great amplifier. The thing that really confused people about the Warhorse is because of the way it was designed, and it has to do with the way it's a modulated power supply that directly drives a speaker load, is there were two outputs. Output 1 and output 2. And most people see that as two outputs, or in today's world, it's a mono amp, so that's just two positives and two negatives. No, on the Warhorse, this one here had to go to coil 1 on the dual voice coil subwoofer, and this one had to go to coil 2 on your dual voice coil subwoofer, because this output, all it did was drive the positive swing.
Okay.
That's all it did. This output drove the negative swing. So basically, coil 1 on your speaker made the speaker go up and come back to rest. Coil 2 made it go down and come back to rest. Then coil 1 made it go back. So they alternated back and forth. You had to use a dual voice coil speaker, and each output was only half of the signal. It's also why the amp was so darn efficient.
Right.
So
Right.
it was a really unique design. Installers in the field, even after you explain to them how to use it, would sometimes just look at you and go, now say what? And so we did, if I remember right, we actually made 1,000 of those amplifiers, and when they were done, they were done. We just limited that run to 1,000 pieces, and they were done. So, you ask about this woofer coming out. I guess what I can say tonight in the show is there is a line of high output subwoofers coming called L7X. They're going to be part of the Solo X family. Anyone who has an idea of the Kicker history and knows the products we have made in the past, if we got big subwoofers, we're probably going to need big amplifiers.
That's where I was getting at earlier, so that's all awesome. Hey, Kip, I just want to say thank you for coming on today. You've been a great guest.
Yes, sir.
We're going to talk about our show coming up. Did you happen to go see our show at Slamology, where I was out there in the back? And
unfortunately, during Slamology, we were there. We sponsored the event.
Right.
We actually worked with Steve Barber and Hammy Sterner from Shitting on Him.
Yep.
And
hey, look
they
at
actually
show him, Lucky. He acts that. See that right above his eye there? That says shitting on him.
Oh, I didn't see. I do now. Okay. So they took an L7X and had it in their booth. We also worked with Drew Jones over at Bassaholic Productions. He had some stuff. We actually did an L7X giveaway with those two guys in their booth.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, at that time, our company was still underneath the things where we weren't allowing any people to travel outside of the state of Oklahoma to go to events. It's starting to loosen up. I'm hoping it keeps going that way. There's a lot of people freaking out about this Delta variant.
Yeah.
I drink COVID for breakfast, so I'm not worried about it.
Hey, you were just like me, right? We were at CES in 2020, right? 2019, 2020, the end of the year. And the last time I heard, I think they had 30,000 people at that CES from Wuhan.
That's when I got it.
Come on.
Okay, it's funny you bring that up, and this is I can't prove it and I can't disprove it, but this is what I'm going to tell you. I went to SEMA before all this popped. So we're talking October timeframe. I was at SEMA. January, they started getting sifting this into the media. Then it was full blown. We got to shut the world down in March. But I came back from SEMA, and I was sick for about 8 weeks. And I went back to my doctor every time, and he said, the doctor, so at this time that I'm going to the doctor, there was no COVID test. So it's just going to the doctor, and the doctor's like, man, he says, you just got a real bad case, either it's bronchitis or you got a sinus infection. He said, there's something going on. So here, take this and snort this and, call me back. I go back and forth to my doctor, and I'm not exaggerating. I was on 4 different antibiotics.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing touched it. I just stayed at home, and I just felt like blah all the time.
Yes.
And after about 8 weeks, I just felt better, and I went back along to my life. And even there in that 8 weeks, I just lived my life as I was because it wasn't going to stop. So I can't prove or disprove it, but I'm pretty sure I came out of SEMA, and I got something that's that.
So to co-sign that, there's me and probably 10 other guys in our circle down here that came back that same time frame, and we were all sick as well. So we're you know, and then I just ended up getting it, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago or whatever, but you know, it was just like a flu type thing. I only got tested. I only got tested because my wife did, and she had it. So I was like, well, shit, I'll test for it too. And I tested positive.
So tell Kip about what you, because you lost your taste. Tell him what you did.
Oh yeah. So okay.
This
so
is
one
awesome.
morning, one morning I wake up and I go to start cooking, you know, and I'm making some eggs, and it doesn't even dawn on me at first. Like I'm making breakfast, and then I'm kind of like, I don't even smell this what I'm cooking, you know. Normally the whole house, you know, you can smell the food in the house. I'm making that. And I grab some toast and I don't smell the toast. I'm like, well, what the hell? And I'd heard people losing their smell and their taste. So then it finally dawns on me. I go, you gotta be shitting me. Don't tell me I lost my smell and my taste. So I take a bite of my breakfast, right? And I don't taste nothing at all. I just have the texture, but I have no taste at all.
Wow.
So what I did is I grabbed this is going to sound very disgusting. So what I did is I grabbed a piece of toast and I put mayonnaise on it and I flooded it with Tapatio hot sauce. And I do mean flooded it. In other words, when I picked it up, the shit was just pouring out of the bottom, right? And I just took that whole piece of bread, shoved it in my mouth, and I was chewing. And I didn't even break a sweat. My eyes didn't water. I didn't taste anything. And I'm in just total disbelief. I'm like, this can't even happen. I figured even though I couldn't smell it or taste it, I'm going to be pouring sweat, eyes watering. There was nothing. So I grabbed another one. I did the same thing and I ate it and nothing. So I called my wife and my kids and I go, watch this. And I did it again. And they're just like, what the hell? And I go, I lost everything. I can't smell or taste anything. But I'll tell you what, it was terrible because I'll tell you this, when you're hungry and you're craving food, that taste and the smell, and there's nothing there, you just feel totally unsatisfied. So every time, it was almost like I didn't even have the craving to eat sometimes because I just had no smell or taste. And then when I would eat, there was nothing there. So it sucked, yeah.
You know, when it comes to eating, a lot of times people forget that eating is actually, it can encompass 4 primary senses. You know, not just how it tastes is what you enjoy, but how it looks. You get a visual excitement from that. You know, how it smells, you get a visual excitement from that. And like the sound, like when you hear a steak on a grill, you can start watering just because you can hear that steak on the grill. So when we eat, it's really an exploration of all those different senses. So when you lose a couple of the primary ones, it's like, I'm cheated. What happened here?
Yeah. You watch a dog, you start pouring dog food, you see your dog start salivating. You know what I mean? They're getting all excited. You know, we're the same way. We see a steak getting made. It's like, it's going to be on. You know, and there's a few times my wife went out and got some steaks and other things that I was just so excited about. And I would literally, she'd come in the house and I'm just like, I'm not even going to be able to taste this. Not even be able to taste this. Yeah.
All right.
That's awesome.
So I'm gonna give Dave Bradshaw his question. He better be getting you a sandwich, Lucky. So
he's actually in there making it right now.
All right, he better be. Okay, so he's asking about this Mohawk Sub. I am not familiar with that sub.
Well, Mohawk, I'll try to give you the long story short. Mohawk was a line of subwoofers that Kicker came out with back in it was late 80s. It had about a 3-4 year run. I think they were discontinued in 93 or 94, if I remember right. Might have been 95. So if I'm a little gray, forgive me, but they only had about a 4 or 5 year run. And they were a smaller voice coil, very efficient, smaller driver. And you have to remember that back in the 80s, even through the early 90s, big power was a couple hundred watts. Like if you had 200 watts, that was huge power.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was very common, whether it was PPI or Rockford or Kicker or Acoustic or pick any of the brands that were hot in that day. 65 to 150 watts on a subwoofer was huge power. It really was.
Yep.
And so this line of speakers that Kicker developed was meant to be for the guy who couldn't afford Kicker comps, but he wanted to buy into something from Kicker because he liked the company or the way it sounded or whatever. And so Mohawk was a lower powered version of a Kicker comp. And I'm here to tell you, I sold them at retail. I built boxes for them. They sounded great. put 65 to 100 watts of power on them, man, all day long. Those things were just awesome. They were very efficient. And back in that day, there were loud cars back in the day. The guys who were doing loud cars back then knew that their friend was efficiency, efficient drivers, efficient box designs. Today, people are kind of spoiled because they can build all these small boxes and they just force the woofer to do what they want because they got all this power on tap. But you got to remember, there was a time when there wasn't all this power available. You know, a couple hundred watts, you were king of the mountain. You got 500 watts, oh boy, you the big dog.
Yeah.
So, you know, Mohawk lived in that generation, and then when they discontinued the line, which would have been, I want to say it was 94, 95, bigger amplifiers were starting to become part of the scene. Larger power was starting to cup. Things were kind of going that direction with bigger coil, bigger motor, longer stroke. And so at that time, Kicker just shelved the name and quit making that driver. And what replaced Mohawk then was a line that I know a lot of people out there know. It's called Impulse. And Impulse was bigger speaker, bigger coil, longer throw. Impulse really kind of became what the old competition driver was. And then the Comp and the Comp VR went beyond what the original Kicker Comp was and became that. So it kind of, the Impulse kind of slid in, took the place of the Comp, and then Comp and Comp VR took off and went up from there. So it's kind of the bell of when things started changing. We went to bigger coil, longer throw subwoofers. Now, ironically, our let me get my facts right here. Our Malaysian distributor, they actually have a manufacturing facility and they make products as well. And we actually license the You can buy a Mohawk speaker today, but only outside the United States of America. We actually license the name Mohawk to them. And so you can still buy a Mohawk driver. It's not the same Mohawk driver as it was from 1994. It's a completely different animal. So the name still exists, just not here in the U.S.
Okay. All right. Well, once again, hey, I want to thank you a lot, Kip. I mean, tons of information.
Right.
We love your studio, by the way.
Thank you.
So,
beautiful.
So where can people see, because he does a podcast also, so where can they catch your podcast, Kip?
They can catch us if they want to. We do a live show. It's every Tuesday night, 7:30 Central Time. We try to stay strictly to a 90-minute window, so we try to kick it off at 7:30 and wrap it up at 9 o'clock. Sometimes we're a few minutes early, sometimes we're a few minutes late, but that's our window. We have guests in, we do demos, we do tests of product, we release all the new information on Kicker product. You're going to get the first taste of that on Kicker Unmasked Live Weekly. That's the name of the show. So every Tuesday night, 7:30 Central Time, you can join us on our YouTube channel or our Facebook channel. And of course, one of our big, he's a huge Kicker fan. I got to give a shout out to him, is Andy McGill, and he runs a channel called Living Loud with Andy. He also runs the Kicker Fan Club on Facebook. Great guy, very knowledgeable. He'll help anybody with any problems. It doesn't matter what brand of gear it is. Andy is a true dyed-in-the-wool, genuine guy who just happens to love car audio. We also stream over his feed as well. So on Tuesdays, it's available on at least 3 feeds that we know of. Our Facebook, our YouTube, and it comes through Andy McGill's Living Loud and Kicker Facebook channels as well. So there's a few places you can catch it. Subscribe. It's been a great show for us. If you've never seen it, come join us. We're in a habit of giving away gifts and doing drawings in the month or during the month, some big prizes. We just gave away. Unfortunately, it's already been won, but talk about names from the past. Mark Eldridge, who's just over here in Bixby, Oklahoma. He runs a school over there called Mobile Soundstage Engineering for guys. It's about sound quality and designing a car for staging and imaging and tonality and all those things that you want in a car. And he runs a class, and we actually did a month-long entry for a drawing. And the guy who won that's actually from California, and he's coming in, so he's going to get to go to a 2-day class over there in Bixby, Oklahoma. He's going to come over here and get a tour of Kicker. He's going to be on the live show on August. See, I'd be the 23rd or 24th. I could have the dates wrong, but it's that Tuesday right after the weekend of the 21st, 22nd, so it is the 24th. And so that's a $1,500 prize package. That's just one of many types of prizes that we do drawings for on the show. So if you're into car audio, if you're into seeing demos, if you're into seeing how much power can this wire actually handle versus this other wire, all sorts of stuff like that we do on the Unmasked Live show. So come check it out. It's a good time. We have a good time doing it.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
Sounds great. But anyway, I'd like to thank you for coming in again. Everybody like and
My pleasure.
share.
Thank you.
Go ahead and check out Kip's stuff. We're going to try and bring on more manufacturers like this. And obviously it's Kicker, so you can go just about to any reputable retail store and pick up that product if that's what you guys are into. All right, Kip. Lucky, you're probably going to have to kick him because it's going to be easier that way. All right. Thanks a lot, Kip. I'll text you or whatever. And but once again, thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Have a good night, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
All right. Let me see. Now I'm going to go back here. There we go. There we are. Okay. Hey, Lucky. Hey. So he was a great guest, I will have to say.
That was awesome. Full of information, dude, nonstop.
Yes.
And I learned quite a bit from that. So yeah, that was really, really cool. Really
That was
guy,
cool.
too.
Now we're running up on 50 minutes already. So, but let's talk about the Sky High.
I'm so bummed.
I know.
I can't get into details. I will just say this. I was very, very, everybody knows this. I was very, very excited to go to that. I was just so pumped up. I was so excited that there was actually going to be, a show within a show, the DB Drag show, plus the 3X show, plus, the Rad Sky High show.
Yeah.
I was just in a position, I popped the amplifier, and it frustrated me. I was so happy to go to this show, and I wasn't able to compete. And just my energy, I didn't want to put my energy and ruin anybody else's time. So that's where I was at with it. I was hot. I was tired. My son was skateboarding around. He was having a blast. He was skating up and down the road with a bunch of kids, and he was having a good time. And, it's just real unfortunate. I'm really sorry to everybody there, because I heard that there was somebody that came to stomp my ass in my class. So, it's such a bummer, man. That would have been, of course I want to win, but if I lose, I lose. And that would have been awesome, because I kind of caught wind of the story. I'll let you tell it. And I think it would have been awesome to have that happen, man. Go ahead.
No, so Ricky comes in. He burps like a 153 or 154.1 or something. Pretty low number for him. And he goes, so where's Lucky at? I says, well, Lucky had some issue. I mean, Ray Maestas, Anthony Caps,
Josh
Tattoo. I mean, shoot, I think there was 5 or 6 people that post online, hey, we had problems, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so then he goes, man, I wish Lucky was here. 160 point something.
Would have stomped a mud hole in my ass. But you know what, though? I mean, that's awesome, because I mean, when somebody's gunning for you, you're doing something right?
That's what they say.
Yeah, so that I'm flattered by that, man. But I think that would have been funny. It would have been really, really cool.
Yeah. Speaking of which, and
congratulations to him. Congratulations.
Oh yeah, no, he did a great number. I mean, that's not his best ever, but he definitely. I mean, it's a purpose-built vehicle, and it gets loud.
Dude, I'd have laughed so hard. Go ahead, but I would have laughed so hard. That would have been awesome, man.
It would have been. I mean, that's part of the things, So, what's his name? Brian Irwin. Brian Irwin showed up at that show, right?
Wow.
So he could just get in one class, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's like, "Yeah, I guess I'm doing base race too." Well, I guess I'm doing top dog. So
all of a sudden,
so here's what it was is. So we had 6 people in top dog. I hustled up, or 5 people. Hustled up a couple people. We have 5 people in top dog. We had 5. I got it to 7. I go, if I get one more person in this, which will make 8 people, I'll pay $80 to the winner. And what's his name?
That would have been me.
It would have been.
Would have been me. I had Brian send me the message on the screen of the store. It would have been 9.
If you would have been there, then I would have said, hey, if we would
have
have got 9, it would have been $100.
Yeah. Brian Irwin said, I saw something to the effect. I could have it wrong, but something to the effect of like, where were you? Or we missed you that night. He sent me a picture of the scoreboard, and I was just like, oh my gosh. I was so bummed. I pull up, and I see Steve Mead and John Robbie, Bobby Gately, like John Napoli. I mean, you name them. I mean, they were all there, and it's just like Hammy Sterner, Steve Barber,
Marissa and Stephen O'Brien.
Right. I mean,
John Robbie. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, it was the works, man. It was the works. And I just, like I said, it definitely was the best choice for me. I was not in my right frame of mind to be around people. I'm not trying to bring nobody down. I want them to enjoy their time. But boy, I'm just so disappointed. I wish I could have just toughened it up and just said, screw it, left my truck alone and went and mingled. But it is what it is. There's going to be next year, and I'm sure it's going to be it's already a big event, but it's going to be even bigger. I heard the show is a great success. So obviously next year, what's that mean? It's going to be even better, so.
John and I had a good talk at the show, and, things are way better between us, I feel.
Awesome.
I hope John feels the same way. And with that being said, yeah, I do see more in the future collaboration with us.
Awesome.
So I will say, so I'm sitting in there. Erwin's doing his top dog. He goes, dude,
Yeah.
look at my box. I look in his box. He shattered his basket on one of his subs.
Oh,
Just destroyed, and it's
No,
just
not cracked,
dangling.
it was destroyed.
No, it was just dangling by the coil itself. Like the tinsel lead was the only thing keeping the basket within the box.
Wow.
He just destroyed that box, or the single subwoofer basket, just gone.
Wow.
He's like, dude, check that out. And then he ends up winning the top dog
With
for
the shattered
$80
basket.
With the shattered basket.
Wait, hold on. Who is this? You said it was
Brian Irwin.
Brian. Okay, I was gonna say because that's who. Wow. Hey, my hat's off to him, man.
Yep.
And that's good. It's good to see the older guys come back out, man.
Yep.
I haven't seen him in a minute, so that's good stuff, dude.
Yep. Hopefully Moses is still watching. He was watching earlier. But so let's go to base race. So in base race, Carlos down to pound.
Okay.
Little white Honda car. So he pulls in. He wins his class. He goes, dude, I'm undefeated against the boss. I got this. No, he don't. He got beat by the boss.
Hey, like I say, I tell everybody, that's why I love Top Dog and Base Race, because you could be the baddest motherfucker this time, and the next show you can just flop.
Oh, Joseph said, Joe Riney said he sent you a picture of the broken sub.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out.
So
my phone's been blowing up all day, and I've been working, and I got home and I ate, and then boom, had to jump on the podcast. So I haven't really been able to dig up in there.
So Moses is still in here. So Carlos, I to be honest, oh, you know what? It was Manny's vehicle, Lord of Base Manny. I jumped in his vehicle, dude. Smooth, easy. He said, "Hey, my bass knob's messed up. That's why it's screwed up." 9.9 tie. 9.9 tie again. 9.9 to 9.8 winner, the boss.
Yeah, right.
So bass knob's kind of screwed up.
Yeah,
so,
but it worked perfect for you. So I heard also that Ron DeLizzo was out there. I heard that let's see, Ron DeLizzo from Team SSC. Who else was it? Was it Manny from SSC? I think there was a couple.
No,
SSC
there was only
guys.
one SSC competitor. Now there were a few guys there from SSC, but only one guy jumped in the lanes.
Okay, and that was Joseph.
Oh no, two. Yes, that's right. There was SSC Joe also.
Yeah, Joe, and then who else was competing? Did Ron compete?
Ron actually competed.
He did
He's
compete.
getting his points for World Finals. Yep.
Nice. Okay, and what I think Joe did Pro Stock 1K.
Yeah, I think it was 1K.
Pro Stock 1K. Yep. Okay, and what
got it right here, as a matter of fact.
What class did I haven't seen none of those guys in quite a while. I've seen Joe
Ron
actually.
just had his points getter. His points chaser. Let's see. We had Sendit Clara versus DC Joe, Travis Cerna. Now that's a guy that's used to compete a long time ago, and he's back doing it. Travis Cerna.
That's what Travis Cerna is with. Not Mob Scalers. Travis Cerna's Visual Distortion.
Okay. Yeah. And then you have DB Life Isaiah, who would have stomped him, but he right out the gate freaking bust out of his 5K class. Like he had 5,400 with his first note. We had Team Willis there. Moses Martinez versus DC Josh. That was a good run. It was 49 point something to 150. So, it was right there. They were head up. Team SSC Joe was in Street Stock 1K, and he ended up beating Manny. He did a 43.7, and Manny did a 42.9.
Okay.
So, let's see. Greg showed up. Greg Colin. He got his truck there on time, which is something new for him. So,
yeah, because last time it took him like an hour to get ready for that death match. Something like that. Ray got him on that one, right? Ray won that one.
Yes, Ray did.
Yeah, Ray beat him on that one. That's right.
Yep. So anyway, that's what we had. And let's see here in the base race. I'm trying to see who won. Okay, 39.9 base race. Oh, Isaiah won the 39.9 base race.
Isaiah DB Life.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Nice job.
Nice.
So he did that, and Moses got second to him. And so Isaiah's like, dude, I don't even have the $10. I ain't going to beat the boss. I said, come on, dude, it's $10. Somebody even offered to give him the $10.
Right.
But he opted out. I said, okay, I need to borrow your vehicle. He goes, no problem. I go, what do I have to do? He goes, turn the bass knob. And so I did that. And so I'm sitting there, I'm floating. So Moses Martinez was number 2. And I go, you know what? Actually, Dave Bradshaw says, hey, why don't you give Moses a shot? I said, you know what? Sure, I will. Moses, do you want a shot at the boss? You know, I'm one for one today. And he goes, no, I got this. And so him and I are going at it. I'm watching. There's 2 seconds left, and I just touched the knob and went over and busted out 140. Moses Martinez got a win against the boss.
It's how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Hey, you can't always win, right?
That's right. That's why I love Top Dog and Base Race.
Yep. So Moses ended up winning that. Let's see here. Top Dog. Oh, we had the Bagger Beats. If you guys didn't seen that, Chris Cagle with his motorcycle again, which I'm sure you've seen that before. So he's getting better. He's gone up about 3 points on his went from 113 to 116. So he's doing a lot better. Cyclone, we only had 5 people, and we only had 1 person in freestyle. And that was Moses Martinez.
Well, you know he's going to do every class.
Yep.
Yeah.
And but anyway, so but afterwards, I'm like, whoa, wait, what's freestyle? And I had a handful of people, and I told them, hey, you know, this is this is what it is, and I explained it, and they're like, dude, I would have did that. So,
right.
So hey, maybe next time, right?
Yeah, right.
We had a new guy show up there. Let me go to back forward, and he did Top Dog, and his name was Damon Toole.
Okay.
And he did Super Street X because he had he just had a sheet of plywood on his whole ceiling, so that put him Super Street X, obviously. And he did like a 150.6 or something. First time ever do a base comp.
That's a good number for a first time.
Oh yeah, dude, we love that.
That's what everybody's fighting for in the beginning.
Yeah,
everybody's fighting. If I hit that 50, I just got to get that 50. I'll never forget when I hit my first 50.
Yep.
And no, I don't think anybody will ever forget that. That's the first big number.
Right. That's like your benchmark, right? That's I'm starting to get loud.
You get a decal when you hit that 50.
That's
you know what I mean? Like I was dying to get one of those decals. So yeah.
Okay, so Brandy's sitting in here. She asked me to explain freestyle. So freestyle, we give you a globe, a sphere, and the mic goes in the sphere, and it's 4 inches, so you can go anywhere you want in front of the B pillar, and you can stick that down on your floorboard, on your seat, whatever you want. But it has the microphone in it. Or we can do it legal, which is on the dash, the same as DB Drag. You can have your doors, your windows open, whatever you want. It's freestyle. Just do whatever you want. You do 1 run for 30 seconds. It's peak SPL. Then you get, I don't know, a 1 minute break, and then you run a second run. But that's all you do for the day. It's really geared towards the people that just, hey, I want to see how loud I am, or I want to just try something a little different. And we always offer trophies for that for each, first through third in every class also. So,
right.
So that's pretty much what freestyle is. If you guys are interested, just let me know at the show, and we'll get you in there. Now, Dave, you missed Dave.
Dave, is that Team Send It, Dave?
That would be the same Team Send It, Dave.
Okay, I know you're talking about. Go ahead.
So Stefan comes in there, and he's like, Dave, you gotta sit on the hood of my car. I'm gonna get loud with this thing. And Dave sits in it. His fat ass falls right through the window.
I saw a picture of that posted. I saw a picture of that. Yeah.
I mean, Stefan and Dave like to say it was the bass that broke the window, but I was there.
Yeah. It was a big ass.
The window didn't go out. It went in.
It went in. Yeah, that's the tall tale right there, bro. Your bass would have made it go that way, Yeah, it's got his ass cheeks dented right into the window.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, but you know what? He did a good number. Still, I think he did a 155.7. And then he came back, and obviously his window wasn't doing him any favors. He only did a 155 his second run, so he did hella good. He did. I was really happy. Sky High Barbecue, they fed a lot of people a lot of food. We had sodas and waters going left and right out of there. I know John said hey man, don't worry about it. We're gonna clean up afterwards. But I really would like to.
saw a post, dude.
Okay,
that
so
dude
but
fucked up his shit.
I want to tell you, I want to say thank you to the DB Drag guys because I walked through our area when it was said and done. Now, I wasn't where everybody was, but at least in the DB Drag area where everybody was hanging out, dude, I picked up 4 water bottles. That was it in the whole area.
Yeah.
Other than that, that place was clean. So I want to thank the DB Draggers. You guys did a great job. I mean, I really appreciate, I tell you guys almost every show, hey man, I know that's not your trash, whatever. I don't care if it's yours. I don't care
don't
if it's your
matter.
neighbor's. Pick it up and throw
it
it
don't
away,
matter.
please.
Exactly. It don't
just
matter if it's yours
respect.
or not. It's respect. Pick up your shit. And if it's not yours, pick it up still.
Yep.
That's the same thing with Brian Nyman's. People are leaving junk everywhere. This is something we all come together and do. And if people do stuff like that and leave trash everywhere and fuck the place up, nobody's gonna want to do shows there no more. So have some common sense and some respect and pick up after yourselves and after others if they're not going to be respectful enough to do it. So.
And like I say, the DB Drag guys, you guys did an awesome job. I walked around behind us, and I mean, like I said, 4 water bottles extra. That's it. I mean, not a big deal, right? I mean, that was awesome. I cleaned them up. John told me, hey, don't worry about them, blah, blah. I would never ask you guys to do something I wouldn't do. I walked around and cleaned up the parking lot myself, right?
Right.
So I really appreciate you guys. DJ IQ was out there again. Stefan, dude, that guy gets down on the music. I mean, Rosa's in here. Moses Martinez's wife. Dude, she was having a great time there. She
always does.
Oh yeah, she does.
Always does. Yeah. They get and that's what's needed at the shows, dude. It's awesome when people just let loose, man, cut loose, and just have fun. Yeah, for sure.
So she was out there dancing to DJ IQ, doing everything. We did a little raffle for him. He made it, kind of try and raise some money for him coming out. Like I said, he did a great job. I mean, he plays a little. Who showed up late? Oh, somebody lost. And he gave the wah, 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 wah.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, he was. I think he was doing that at the other Reno show as well at Baldini's. I think he was doing the same thing, and he was clowning on people and messing around people. So yeah, that's awesome.
No, and he's a really cool dude. If you want some some music rebased or just interested in what he's producing, absolutely talk to the guy. He's really cool and he's willing to share, and he'll get it to you. And like I said, so he actually can rebase music for you guys if that's what you need, or some of his original stuff. Just like Syph Morrison, right? He's not a rapper like Syph, but he is producing his own music and whatnot, and he is doing it for the basshead community and for dancing and whatnot.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
Anybody that supports us, I love to try and help support them too, right?
Absolutely. Support those, support you.
That's right. So that's a big deal.
Sure.
So let's go real quick. I want to go because we are already at 1:12. Let's talk about the shows coming up right now. So this weekend I've got in Wisconsin. I got 3X in Wisconsin. Saskatoon's got 2 shows this weekend, one on Friday, one on Saturday. Those are going to be run by Ray Choi up there, I'm sure.
Ray Choi, what's up?
Once again, this Russellville, Kentucky, man, they're on there a lot. Romania, let's see. Russellville, Kentucky's going to have a 2X on Sunday. Oh, it looks like it's 3 days in a row up in Saskatoon. So they're Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days of shows. Man, they're trying to get their points to go to World Finals, I see. And then also this weekend, I can't remember if it's Saturday or Sunday, but I'm pretty sure it's Saturday. They're having the Ayaska again, which is Battle of the Bay, I believe, and it's sponsored by Fat Boys Car Audio. Once again,
Shout out to Fat Boys Car Stereo, man. Them guys
Yeah.
are always the whole Ramos family, man. They always support every show. Big salute to them right there.
Yep. So it's their event they're putting on. They're putting it on as part of a car show and a car hop. So we definitely have that going on. That's coming up I believe it's this Saturday. I'm not 100% sure. You can hit Ray Pemley up. He's got the good size trophies because they are paying for the, they're having it as a 2X event. So he's stepping up his game in trophies also, which is cool, Then on the 7th of August, we got Fernley, Nevada, 2X. That's going to be a drag race and drifting thing, kind of in conjunction with Hot August Nights. So if you're into cars, dude, that's the place to be during that weekend. Absolutely great place for cars and cars. And remember, hey, so we're going to be there at an event that doesn't typically have car audio. So if somebody wants to come see your stuff, I don't care if you only hit a 141. Give them a demo and explain, because you have a passion for what you do, and your passion is contagious. They will absolutely love whatever you love about your system. I promise you that.
Yeah.
So
I just seen the message right now of Brian Irwin's basket. Let me see.
Okay.
And yeah, that thing is shattered. Oh my God, that's insane, dude. Like completely disassembled. Johnny number 5 out the window right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So let's see. Then in New Zealand, we have a 2X. Oh, so guess what? So next week on Monday the 2nd, I am going to invite the head judge for New Zealand. He's going to come in, on the 2nd, we're going to invite the New Zealand head judge and come in and talk about his event on the 2nd.
Awesome.
So we'll have some international people. Fresno, the Friday the 13th, talking about big money, up to $600 giveaway.
$5 a DB show right there.
$5 a DB for the death match.
Nice.
Yep. So
Jay's Alarms,
Friday the 13th. Then we have North Carolina 3X. We have Grapevine, Texas 1X. That whenever you see Grapevine, Texas up there, just so you guys know, that is at Crossfire Car Audio. They're really getting into hosting events again, and so remember, we're gonna have tons of stuff going on with Crossfire, and Jeffrey Fernandez is running that. Obviously, one of my favorite judges. He does a really good job. Let's see, we got Russia on the 14th. We got Czech Republic on the 14th. More Canada on the 15th. Alabama, Texas, Russia, and Czech Republic on the 21st of August. Then on the 22nd, we have a 3X in Oklahoma, a 3X in Oregon. You know which one that one might be, right?
I think Surf City.
That would be correct.
Can't wait.
We'll get his wife's Heather. What's his name again for Surf City?
Heather and Z?
No, the guy who runs Surf City.
Oh, Scott McRae?
Scott McRae, yes. So we'll get Scott on here coming up probably on the 16th to talk about his upcoming event and let you guys know anything that might have changed, whatever.
Scott McRae is awesome, dude.
Dude, we like Scott.
Scott McRae is awesome, dude.
Yes. And then on the 28th, we're going to be back in Sparks, Nevada at Baldini's again for our final show in Sparks of the year, along with Texas and Alberta, Canada again. There's a 3X on Sunday the 29th in Madrid, Spain, and there's a 1X in Alberta, Canada. So that's what we got going on as far as upcoming shows. There's also going to be most likely Stockton Beatdown. If not, there's going to be a 3X at the end of the season. If it isn't going to be Stockton Beatdown, it'll be the West Coast finale. And I've been in talks with Dave Bradshaw and Team Send It. they're talking about either doing a 2X or a 3X up there in Sacramento at Lunsford Customs.
Nice.
So
Nice.
those are the events. Oh, also, I do want to let people know, remember, you can, if you're already a member of DB Drag, you can go online and register that you're going to the show. Whether you go to the show or not doesn't matter. But if you register, you get a bonus point. Now,
If you go.
You get your bonus point right away. But it gets taken away if the show happens and you don't go.
Correct.
So it's a way to get your bonus points. And anybody that says, hey, there's not enough points, Moses Martinez just started, what?
Last week?
3 months ago?
He's probably already got like 75 points.
Dude, he has 69 points.
Right. There's no excuse, dude. There's been now 30 shows. Is it 30 shows since it was announced the World Finals were going to be here?
Yeah, we're over that.
We're over 30 now?
Yeah, we're over 30.
Yeah, no excuses.
Yep. Hold on, I'm gonna go do Moses.
Don't talk about it, be about it.
Yep. Let me see. Where's Moses Martinez on here? Oh, there he is. All right. So check this out. So Moses just started, right? He's got 61 points in DB Drag. He's got 50 points in base race. He's got 55 in Cyclone and 24 in Top Dog. And he hasn't been doing well in Top Dog, and he's still
26
got
more points. So 26 more points, and he's golden in Top Dog.
Yep.
Or was it? Yeah. And then he's already, what'd you say it was?
He's already good in Cyclone.
Yeah, good in Cyclone. Yep.
He's 39 points away on DB.
And just started. So that's what I'm saying. There are no excuses. There are none. Yep. You know, that's the same as me when I first started competing. I think I was only competing for a few months, and I made it to finals in every class that I was participating in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moses is asking if you made the list out there for Surf City. Now, to make that list, Moses, you need to go to their website and you need to register. I haven't done it, but Lucky absolutely has. And once you register, then you'll make the list.
Yeah, so you got to get on that too. And so here's the thing, man, you got to get on a room like now, because I know when I booked my room, they were scarce. I mean, them rooms go quick. There's people that go out there, they'll go this year and they'll book their rooms for next year already. Yep. So good luck finding a room. They're going to be pricey. If you waited this long, they're going to be pricey. But I will say this, I don't know who you plan on taking with you, but all the base heads out there got love, and I've never heard of anybody having to sleep in their car unless it was their choice. I mean, people just offer, you know what I mean? Hey, you're good.
Moses says he's already got a room.
Awesome. How far away from the show are you? Hopefully not like me, 2.5 hours the opposite direction. My first year going there. We won't get into that story right now. Oh my God, that year was nuts. Anyway, but yeah, hopefully, hopefully you're close to the show.
Yeah,
but you're gonna have a.
So I mean,
that's
another 3X where he's gonna get whatever from another 3X, right?
Right.
And then he's got the Reno 2X coming up. So I mean, dude, he's gonna be well into.
He's golden. He'll be there. He'll make it. Yeah, he'll make it for sure.
Moses says it's about 2 to 3 minutes away.
Yeah.
Right there at the casino, he said, is where his room is.
At the casino. That's
what he says.
That's the show.
I know.
So 2-3 minutes. What did you say? 2-3 minutes away?
Yep.
Okay, so he's being sarcastic. So in other words, he's at the show. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how he pulled that off, man. Because when I got my room on the beach, they told me there was only like one more of they call them a no view room. It's like basically just a bed and a little tiny window to see the parking lot, and that's it. You know, so he lucked out, man. He really lucked out. But I'm glad, super stoked, because his energy, him and his lady, like, yeah, it's on and cracking. Can't wait.
All right, guys. I want to thank Lucky again. I want to thank Kip. Kicker Kip did a great job. Great information. I do know I've been talking to the guys over at Digital Designs about coming on here. I want to talk to somebody at Rockford. So that's another thing. When we don't have shows and the show season slows down a little bit, we're going to have more and more people like that coming on this week in Car Audio. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but anyway, guys, any final thoughts, Lucky?
Yeah, make sure you go to lotsofwatts.com. I finally got the double insulated tumblers in, the 32 ounce. They got the pop back lids. These things are they're awesome. They hold cold water, ice, and everything 24 hours. They're good, man. They're $40 on the site plus tax and shipping. These things are cool. I love them. Every show you go to, you always see somebody walking around. Even Kicker Kip had his just like this, but it said the kicker symbol. So got to have the Lots of Watts ones. Go on lotsofwatts.com. Go to my YouTube channel, Lucky McGovern. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to get alert every time I upload a video. And I think that's pretty much it, man. Sorry, folks, that I didn't get to make it to the Sky High Barbecue and stay. I'm really, really sorry. There's always next year, and I'll see you guys at Surf.
Okay. Great job. Once again, remember, like and share this on all platforms. That includes YouTube, Facebook, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you catch this thing. Please like and share this. We want to grow our audience. We're doing pretty good. About every 4 shows, we're doubling our audience. So if we could keep that kind of growth going, we're going to get big soon. And like I said, that gets us better guests, obviously, like Kip today. We got Celise kind of scheduled too once I hit a certain number, and I'm getting dang close to that. So we'll be scheduling Celise Harris. For you guys that don't know, you will know.
Yeah, awesome.
She's an awesome lady, and we will definitely have her on it sometime. But once again, hey, thank you guys for tuning in. And sorry it went so long, but Kip was interesting enough. I didn't want to cut him off, and he had some great information for you guys. And
yeah,
hopefully you guys learned something, and definitely, hope it was a good time for you guys. And it's beneficial for us and for him. So that's all I can say about it. Thank you to Lucky. Thanks for being my co-host on this thing. You do a great job out here, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Anyway, once again, I want to tell you guys thanks. Tune in next week, 6 p.m. California time. We will be doing this again next week. I'm going to try and keep it down to an hour next week. Depends how good our guest is that time. So thanks again, and we're out.
Thank you, guys.